Okay. Okay, so today we're going into Unit 4. I really like Unit 4 because this is monetary policy. Well, what we did in our last unit was fiscal policy, but with fiscal policy, we had to start out with our aggregate supply, aggregate demand model. We had to talk about the Phillips curve. We had to work our way through multipliers. We had to do all of those steps along the way before we got to fiscal policy. Same thing here. We're going to work our way through money. We're going to go into the banking and how banks work and fractional reserve banking. Then we can finally get to monetary policy. Monetary policy is what we use primarily to influence our economy. And when we hear news about the Fed raising interest rates, that's monetary policy. So I think this is going to be really exciting because now we're actually going to understand what they're talking about when you're driving to work, you listen to NPR and you hear the Fed is meeting. What's the Fed going to do with interest rates? That is this. So real world application. What's our timeline looking like? Today, we are here with our warm up. Then we're going to do our tests are going to be the 18th and 19th. So same format as last time, where we'll have our test 2 days before winter break. So that way we can go over the test, it's fresh in our brain, and we can go straight into break knowing what we got. We don't have any of the anxiety or any of that stuff. So cool. So let's get after it with money. I'm going to skip the warm up here unless you guys are feeling fancy. You guys feeling fancy? Someone's fancy over there. Who's on the $100 bill? You guys are good. Okay. 50. Grant. We all lost on that one. We all lost on that one. All right. How about Jackson? Is that going to stay? That's going to be Harriet Tubman probably by what, like 2020 or 2030, by the time in which we don't actually use currency anymore. Because Jackson did the Trail of Tears and killed all those Native Americans. Yeah, the war on Native Americans. Yeah. $10 bill. I think you're right. I think it's Jefferson. No, I was wrong, dude. Ah, should have known that one. How about the 5? Lincoln. $2 bill? Yeah, and 50 cent. Who said JFK? Yeah, Daniel with the JFK. The dime? I didn't put a quarter on here. I think it's Einstein, Eisenhower. Nope. No. And then for back in the day, before wire transfers, they used large denomination currency for international trade. No normal consumer would ever get $1,000 bill or $100,000 bill. This is the stuff where you'd imagine a guy getting on like the Queen Mary to cross the Atlantic with a briefcase like chained to his wrist, kind of thing, to like buy, a state, like the Louisiana Purchase. So Cleveland and Wilson. Bonus, E pluribus unum means. That's a good guess. Out of many, one. Our states. Oh, cool. Well, I thought that would be a fun way to warm us up. So, why do we use money? If we didn't have money, how would we conduct business or conduct life? Barter system, right? Where goods and services are traded directly. There's no money exchanged. So, wow, you've got paper. I need paper. I will trade you for tape. Sound like a good deal? Really? You need tape right now? Cool. Oh, bummer. So it's really tough because two people have to want the same good that each other have, right? If I need paper, Cameron's got the paper, I've got tape. He's like, yo, bro, I don't need tape. But I'm like, but I want paper. Well, what do you need for your paper? You need some more lead. Okay. I'd have to find someone in the classroom who has extra lead that happens to want tape. Anybody in here want tape that has lead? You have lead, but you don't want tape. Okay, so I'm up the creek right there. Anyone else have any lead? Will you take ink? Oh, all right. So we're starting to see the problem here, right? I have to have something that somebody else wants, and he has to have the thing that I want for barter system to actually work. Now, I gave a stupid dad example, like some goods you can't split, like if a goat is worth 5 chickens, how do you exchange if you only want one chicken? Well, you went dark real quick. Take the head. Maybe take a leg. Just go for the head.
That's where all the protein is.
Uh, no, that's fine. That's fine. So same thing might happen. What if I wanted to go see a doctor, right? I'm going to go see the doctor, but the doctor only accepts lead. Would I be up the creek? Yeah, I would. I couldn't find lead anywhere. I got an offer at some ink. You had lead, but you're like, dude, you gave me a B on that test. You know what? Sorry, bro. You're gonna get for me to go to the doctor. I get some lead. Oh, sweet. Okay, so I might have survived. I was really worried that I was gonna pass out by then. But if we didn't have money, we're gonna be bartering, right? And that's what we did for a very long period of time. If we remember specialties back in AP world, remember you had these people that would just barter back and forth, and one day there was extra surplus of grain. I've got extra grain. Someone's got an extra chicken, and you're like, I'll trade chicken for grain. And they're like, cool. Maybe I don't grow grain and chickens. Maybe I just grow chickens and sell them for people's extra grain. And then all of a sudden you had chicken farmers. And then there was like a guy who was like doodling on a cave wall, and someone's like, whoa, I've got extra grain. Will you paint? And he's like, yeah, maybe I paint things. And I'll collect surplus grain. You don't remember any of this? There's that one guy that was just taking hallucinogenic drugs in the corner. He's like, I'm talking to God. And they're like, oh, cool, priest. He's like, I'll do this professionally. Here's some grain. So, so barter system doesn't really work out very well. So what do we use instead? We use money. So what is money? Money is anything that is generally accepted in payment for goods and services. It could be anything. It could be paper currency like we use. It could be shells. It could be rocks. It could be pieces of wood. Many cultures have used many different things. It's not the same as wealth or income. Money is what we exchange for the goods or services. It could represent a value, but you're exchanging it for the wealth. Wealth is a collection of assets. All of your wealth might be what you have in your home, your car, if you have precious metals, your collection of all your wealth. It can be represented through money, but wealth is everything you have. What is income? Income is paid in the form of money, but income is the flow of earnings per unit of time. We just accept it in the form of money because then we can buy goods and services with it. So we got two types of money. We have commodity money. That's something that performs the function of money and has intrinsic value. So it's actually valuable. This would be like gold or silver because you could have a gold coin and you are in a country and all of a sudden the government is toppled or the government collapses. You still have the gold that has its value in gold. You can melt it down and sell it. You could just keep it and sell it for its weight in gold. It has intrinsic value. So some examples would be gold, silver, or in the case of World War II prison camps or prisons, cigarettes. Like we've seen all these prison shows where it's like, hey, I need to get a loaf of bread. Like, oh, that will be a carton of cigarettes. Or, hey, I need to make a shank. Ah, that will be 10 cigarettes. Now it's ramen. It actually is ramen. Ramen and tuna packets. Because tuna lasts for a really long time and you can also eat it. It comes in packets, in like terrible packets, because they don't want to give people cans to make the shanks. But yeah, you're definitely right on that. And then our other example or other type of money is called fiat money. This is something that serves as money but has no other value or uses. And that would be paper money, coins, and digital currency. So paper money has no value. right? We value it because we know it represents a dollar and that the Federal Reserve is going to value it. We can exchange it to other people for money. It has its value there, but it's not worth the cotton it's made on. Coins, 1 penny is not made out of copper. If it was, that weight in copper is worth more than a penny. People would just melt down all of our pennies and start doing their plumbing in their house, no problem. And then digital currency like Bitcoin or any other blockchain currency, it doesn't have any value except for what you believe in it. Does anyone in here own a fiat? The car. Does anyone have a fiat in here? Cool. So fiats are worthless. So fiat money is, uh-oh, you have a fiat? I didn't mean that. So it's, you got it. No, I mean, they're cute. I've always wanted a Mini Cooper, but I'm not tall enough for it to be ironic, and I'm not short enough for it to be convenient. But they handle well, they're fast, they're cool with a checkered roof. Yeah. Yeah. But it wouldn't be considered money. A stock is an asset. Oh, sorry. Not gonna be a lot of slapping today because it's all just definitions. But I'll keep the dad jokes going. Don't worry. I got you, bro. Okay. So what are the three functions of money? The first one is a medium of exchange. We know that I can take money and go somewhere and people are going to accept it. Money can be easily used to buy goods and services with no complications of the barter system. Wow, cool paper. Can I give you $1 for that? Yes, thank you. Thank you for helping him out with that. Cameron, you're still missing it. Yeah, so I could buy that paper from you for $1. You'd be making a nice profit for $1 for one slice of paper. Also, it's a unit of account. Money measures the value of goods and services. How much you pay for those shoes? $50. Oh, that's a good deal. How much you pay for that car? 30 grand. Wow, good deal. How much you pay for gas this morning? $7.99. Ha, you got ripped off, right? We can make an evaluation of the value of something. So money acts as a measurement of value, like the mile or the foot or the minute or the hour. Maybe one day we'll go over to that whole metric system, and because I still can't figure out how many inches are in a yard.
I thought a yard was 100 inches.
You're 100 inches. And yes, I'm still continuing my dad joke. One good, no, I'm going to try. So it also serves as a store of value. Money allows you to store purchasing power for the future. You've got $5 in your pocket today. You could get 5 bagels and cream cheese, or you can wait for tomorrow and get 5 bagels and cream cheese. Do you want to save your money save your wealth as money? No, we want to invest it in other types of assets that usually generate interest or make some form of profit, but you could store it as a value unless there's really high inflation. Going for it. Oh, it just got quiet.
I actually wrote that. I actually wrote that. One thing you just read. That's right. Give me a
I was doing a continuation of my goat joke because I find that if you say a joke and then you use it again later, it becomes funnier. Unless it was a bad joke, then it gets less funny. But sometimes less funny becomes so funny because it's not funny. All right, let's try it out. I can only come up with one question that's on an AP test from this content. So here it is. Which of the following is not a function of fiat money? We got A, B, C, D, or E. Let's keep it low. I got mine up behind my back. Keep it low. That's not low. 3, 2, 1. What do you got? Because fiats are worthless. Except for yours. Yours is nice. All right, let's keep it going. So what backs the money supply? You don't have to write this first part, and please don't. There is no gold standard anymore. We went off the gold standard in the 1970s. Money is just an IOU from the government. So what makes money effective? It's because it's generally accepted. Buyers and sellers have confidence that it's legal tender. If it is a United States legal tender, it has to be accepted, with the exception that some private institutions may turn down some types of currency because it's just too time consuming, right? If you show up to Disneyland and the line is down the street and you roll your Arrowhead bottle full of pennies up to the front and you're like, I'm going to Disneyland. You try and pay $100 in pennies. They're going to say, bro, go to the Coinstar like a normal human being and come back because it's just too time consuming.
I've seen the videos of like a dude comes in with a wheelbarrow of pennies to the DMV when he has to pay a parking ticket.
Government institution, they got to take it. Yeah, government institution, they got to take it. But private institutions, it's actually a good way to get back at the DMV. That's really smart, actually, because standing in those lines is brutal. But it's not your problem anymore. Now you get the satisfaction. Yeah. So the other one that might not be accepted is sometimes unused currency, like $2 bills, may not get accepted in some places because they haven't seen it in a while, and you don't know if is that really a $2 bill, is that a counterfeit $2 bill. Sometimes people are like, I don't accept $2 bills. I don't know. Every vending machine has what it accepts. Yeah. It's scarce. Money is not easily reproduced. So our dollar bills have all kinds of different countermeasures on them to prevent from counterfeiting. Some of the cool ones are like the ink changes colors on the $100 bill. You'll see a cash register do that. There's different watermarks that you can hold them up. Some bills have little metallic strips in there that I don't know what they do. One of the conspiracy theories is that when you are at an airport, that the metal detectors are also counting your money to find out if you're importing or exporting illegal substances or trying to hide your money. I don't believe that. I think that sounds like a big stretch, but you could try and pull the money out, pull the strip out and see what happens. And then finally, it's portable and dividable. Portable is important. Nowadays, we don't really carry a lot of currency around with us. My mom and dad, in their ultimate wisdom, have always said, keep a 20 in your back pocket. Why? Because what if you leave your phone at home and you can't Uber? What if you left your wallet in the back of the Uber with your phone so you can't Uber and you don't have a wallet? How you getting home? Have a backup plan. But portable, actually, you're calling my bluff. I think I should have a 20 in here. Get home. Oh no! I'm stranded. You got me. For a long time, I used to carry half a $20 bill that we tore right down the middle, and I carried half of it. My wife carried half of it because we couldn't return it, and so only together could we have our $20 bill. I thought it was totes adorbs. That's totally cute, right? But portable also matters with relation to our currency. Have you noticed our currency, our coins have gotten a lot smaller? Back in the olden days, there was this really cool thing called the silver dollar, right? And the silver dollar was almost this big. But in 1930s, $1 today was worth about 15 bucks back in 1930. So that was like keeping your 20. Can you imagine trying to carry around $20 in silver dollars today? It would just fill up your whole pocket. It's not portable. So money has to be portable and dividable. Dividable meaning like, hey, do you have a $10 bill? You can also have two $5 bills. Silver dollars, they don't make them anymore, but they sometimes they make those little golden commemorative ones, and vending machines do accept them. Some ATMs accept them. Oh, actually, they give them as cash back sometimes. If you put like a 20 into a vending machine, and your thing was only like $1, and they'll like kick out all those gold coins at you. But they're kind of neat. I'm also the guy that had a coin collection. Still do. I love it. Like, never mind. I'll stop. So purchasing power. We've talked about this before, but the purchasing power of money is the amount of goods and services that a unit of money can buy. So if we're thinking about inflation, does inflation increase or decrease the purchasing power of money? It decreases. Perfect. Inflation decreases the purchasing power of money. Now here's something that relates over to acceptability. If there is rapid inflation, does rapid inflation increase or decrease the acceptability of money? Let's imagine that our inflation rate is 25% per day. Are you going to be increasing or are you decreasing your acceptability of money? Decreasing. I don't want your money. I want to go back to the barter system, right? So if there's rapid inflation, the dollar is losing value so quickly, I wouldn't want to hold dollars. I'd rather go to barter, or I'd rather invest in like a precious metal or something of that nature. Cool. All right, so we've got two types of money. I'll put the reading up online soon. Our book, in its old age wisdom, has three types of money. We don't need three types of money anymore. We're only going to be looking at the two types of money. So we're going to have M1 money and M2 money. And they're both evaluated by what's called their liquidity. And that's the ease in which an asset can be accessed and used as a medium of exchange. The most liquid type of an asset would be cash. It's flowing. I can come up and say, "Oh, I want to buy that. That's $1. Ooh, I want to buy that. That's $1." Something that might be a little bit harder to access would be like a large bill. If you have a $100 bill, you're like, okay, well, I want to buy some paper. I'm going to have to go over to the store or the bank, break it down into smaller bills, and then go out there and exchange it. Or something that's completely illiquid would be like a house or a car. I want to buy I want to buy your piece of paper. I can't be like, yo, you want my house? One, that's stupid. Two, the way I would get to that money would be one, hire a real estate agent, put it on the market. Bunch of people would be walking through my house on open house days. I'd have to supply cookies and snacks for everyone who comes to the house. I'd have to sell the house, get the cash, buy your paper. Is that a hassle? Yes. Stocks are the same thing. Stocks are, yes.
Why is it more beneficial that you buy a house in cash than when you give it to them?
Say what?
Like, you know, when you offer like a house, like I will offer you like this amount of money in cash, and like they always end up taking it. Why is that more relevant? Why is that more like?
Anytime you buy something with cash, you can get away with paying less because they don't have to report the entire purchase. So, say for example, you buy a house with cash, which almost never happens. Who has $1 million of cash sitting around? But let's say, for example, you show up somewhere. Sam's like, I got $1 million cash. But say, for example, you go into a store and you see a jacket, and it's like a boutique store that's owned by, a mom and pop or just a sole proprietorship, and you walk in, it's like $150, and you're like, well, I got 130. Then they can sell you the jacket for 130. They don't have to report it on their taxes because they probably bought it for 100. Whereas if you put it on a credit card, there's a paper trail. They're going to have to pay the taxes on it, report that sale to the IRS. Tips are always, they love it when you pay tips in cash. Yeah, anything, cash is king because cash doesn't get reported. Yes, on tape. Okay, so currency with the highest liquidity, M1 money, is our currency in circulation. Currency in circulation. Why is it liquid? Because I don't have to convert money to use it. I got it. I can spend it as need be. Then you've got checkable deposits. Checkable deposits are also considered M1 money. Now, this is the tough part about this one. Checkable deposits are your checking accounts. Same term. I hate when they have interchangeable terms. And guess what? There's a third way to phrase it. They'll call it demand deposits. So make sure we write demand deposits on here too. Checkable bank deposits, checking accounts, and demand deposits are all the same. And it makes sense. It's totally liquid because when you have a debit card, you're swiping your debit card. That's your checking account. Back in the old days, we didn't have debit cards. We had checks. Same concept. Money comes out of the exact same place. It's quick. It's gone. It's very liquid. So it's counted as M1 money. Then there's traveler's checks. Traveler's checks used to be much more used than today. Traveler's checks would be, I'm going to go to Europe. I'm going to go to Africa on safari. I'm going to go to Asia. You might say, I'm going to the bank. I want to take out a certain number of dollars in traveler's checks. And you could pay hotels and restaurants anywhere you go as long as it's a traveler's check from the United States. Yes.
Why not just take money? You can do the same thing.
Nowadays, you can just take money. And so what you do now, like over in the UTC mall, they have a foreign exchange counter. If you're going to go to Europe, you take in, let's say, $5,000 and say, I want 5,000 worth of euros. You get that exchange rate as of that moment, and you get your currency. The other thing you can do is you take your credit card. But here's the important part. You tell your credit card first that you're going to Spain. You say, hey, Bank of America, I'm going to Spain. That way, when you get to Spain, they know it's not someone who stole your credit card. Am I being oddly specific about Spain? Yeah, because they shut off my credit card. So you call in advance and say, I'm going on a trip. And then every time you swipe your card, you're going to get a moment of sale exchange rate. So the most current exchange rate. That's the easiest way to do it. But also keep a 20 in your back pocket or a half. But we don't use traveler's checks anymore, but it's still going to be on our test. Then there's what's called M2 money or near monies. These are your savings deposits. It's not as liquid because you can't access your savings account as often. Savings account, you have usually, well, it all depends on your bank. I think at mine, I'm Bank of America, the BUFA. At the BUFA, I can withdraw or transfer from savings 5 times a month. After that, I get hit with a penalty fee. Also, with the savings account, you usually have to have a minimum balance in the savings account to keep it. Why do they do that? One, banks will reward you with a little bit more interest, but not usually much. But banks like you to have your money in a savings account because with the minimum balance and the maximum number of transactions you can do from it, they can loan out your money and feel comfortable that you're not going to come in and take it all out. Whereas you can take as much money out here, out of your, right here from your checkable deposits, but here they can say, all right, thank you, Daniel, for giving us some money. I'm going to loan that out over here to Samuel and make interest on it because banks make their money by loaning your money to other people. Savings deposits. The next one would be time deposits. They also call them certificate of deposit. These time deposits, you put your money into a time deposit and you can't access it for any length of time, 6 months or a year. Banks will give you even more interest, but again, not much, from a time deposit because they know that you're not coming in to take that money back. I can loan it out to someone else and collect interest on it. So time deposits are also near monies. Can you access it? Sure, but you're going to have to pay a penalty for it. And then money market funds. You can put your money in a money market fund where you have a portfolio manager looking over all of your assets or over a collective group of assets, a collection of stocks and bonds. You can get in and out of those. It's just not quite as liquid. Important note, since you guys are going to college next year, what I would do is you guys all have debit cards. How many of us have savings accounts? Link them. Go into your bank before you go to college and link them. It's real easy to do. Just say, hey, I want to link my checking account to my savings deposit because if you have $100 in your checking account and you go buy a new book for for micro econ and you buy it and they charge you $101, you overdraft. And when you overdraft, when you pull out more money than you have, they're going to hit you with a fee. Usually like, it used to start where it's like 2, then 4, then 8. I got it up to 128 once. But they're going to hit you with a fee every time you pull out more money than you have. But if you link them, when you swipe and you overdraft, they'll take the money from your savings to cover it so you don't get the penalty. Unless you go over your maximum number of transactions per that month. But it's smart to keep them linked. That way you don't get any penalties in there. Okay, we're almost done. Okay, so financial sector. The financial sector, all we really need is how about the financial sector to banks. So the financial sector is a network of institutions that link borrowers and lenders that includes banks and etc. Like investment banks, mutual funds, pension funds, any other type of organization that will handle your finances. because the confusing part about this unit is that we are going to be both borrowers and lenders. When you're a person putting your money into a bank, you're actually becoming a lender to someone else because you're giving the bank money, they're going to lend your money out. So we have to come up with the concept of assets versus liabilities and how it pertains to loans. Emma's got a sweet phone. I don't have a phone. It really sucks not having a phone. That's a really cool asset you have. You own this thing. It's a tangible good that you own. Now, I've always wanted to call my mom on a Tuesday afternoon. So I might say, hey, can I borrow your phone for a couple of days? Heck no, right? Can I borrow your phone for a couple of days for $100 a day? Dang, you have a high value on your phone. Okay. May I borrow your pencil so I can write my mom a note? That's a solid asset. And maybe you charge me $1 a day for that one.
$3.
Okay, fair. You run a hard bargain, but I'll take it. So this pencil is an asset, right? So Emma just gave me an asset. This is cool. She owns this, but to me, I don't own it. In fact, I owe it back to her and anything that I have to pay, the rent or the interest on it. So this is an asset to Emma and a liability to me. And that's where it gets sticky with the situation of loans. Loans are an agreement between a lender and a borrower. Just pretend I wrote borrower here, not borrow. It's usually at a fee called an interest rate. So if I'm a bank and I make a loan to Lindsay, Lindsay's about to go to college. She's got to take out about 40 grand for that first year at 5%. Yikes! I'm feeling good about loaning you that money because you're smart. You're good to go. This is an asset for me. I'm going to collect 5% on 40,000 every year until you pay me back. That's a cool asset. But to you, that's a liability because you had to borrow it from the bank and you owe me back plus the interest rate. So a loan is both an asset and a liability. To the institution like the bank, a loan is my asset. I own it. I'm collecting an interest rate on it. I'm feeling good about it. I know you're going to college and probably grad school. I'm going to make some money on you, sucker. And then you're like, oh, I hate this liability. I owe so much money to Bank of Owen. That guy sucks. So it's a liability. It's kind of like looking at the two-way relationship, like when we talked about inflation, how inflation helps borrowers but hurts lenders. I know it got frigid quick. It got frigid quick. I think this was the last one. I really do. Should we click it? Should we find out? Should we? Just wait? Just leave it? Just leave it up there? Just mental picture break? Let me just check. Oh, we did it. We did it. That was it. That was the last one. Are you guys okay with that? I told you, mini lecture. So we need